Hi there. Welcome to Kuils River Chronicles, our little town's very own YouTube channel that focuses on all things Kuils River. Today, I'd like to say a big shout out to all of you who have subscribed, liked, or even just commented. You guys are truly rock stars, and we appreciate you. To those of you who's here for the first time, do yourself a favor and go check out our episode on the history of Kuils River, as well as the other episode that delves into some of the insights of the municipality. Today I'm going to be looking at a few religious institutions. Before organized religion ever became part of our community, long before colonizers arrived, life here was guided by tribal law and customs. And for thousands of years, this was the order of the day. The Khoi and San people's faith wasn't about churches or temples. It was deeply rooted in spirituality and moral teachings. A lot of lessons passed down through generations. The San believed in an eternal struggle between good and evil. And I do apologize to the San people if I say this incorrectly, but they spoke of Tuwiko Ab, the creator of all things, the bringer of rain, who often appears in the form of the mighty healer. And then there is Kauna, the spirit of death and misfortune, the bringer of evil. It is said that every morning as the sun rises, the San believes that Tuwiko Ab conquers Kauna, a reminder that good always overcomes evil. The Khoi adopted many of the San's beliefs, but also developed their own rituals, especially around herding, fertility, and healing. Both the Khoi and San believed that their ancestors were the bridge between this world and the spirit world. The San and Khoi's faith is a living reflection of harmony between people, nature, and the unseen world. At its heart lies respect, balance, and the belief that spirits flow through all things. Then came the slaves, brought to the Cape by the colonizers from East Africa, Southeast Asia, Madagascar, and Mozambique. They carried with them their own faiths. Some of them believed in animism. They believed that all living things have a soul, as well as ancestral faiths, Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism. And when we look at all these belief systems together, San, Khoi, and the slaves, one common thread runs throughout. They all believe that honoring their ancestors opens the path to righteous living and a good afterlife. But when the colonizers arrived, everything began to change. Along with them came a new and foreign concept, religion as we know it today. Through missionary stations, they converted the locals, the San, the Khoi, and the slaves, one by one. Since this is how history unfolded, today we find a blend of those influences still present in our community. So, let's take a closer look at some of the religious institutions that form part of Kuils River's rich spiritual landscape. This is the oldest church in Kuils River. Back in the 1700s, the expanse here consisted mostly of farms like Mooiplaas, Leeuwenhof, and Zevenfontein, amongst others. These farms were predominantly Dutch-owned, and they made extensive use of slave labor on the farm. In about 1823, the Rhenish Mission Society opened up a church in Stellenbosch, and it was found after the emancipation of slaves in 1838 that all the slaves that was working on these farms in the surrounding areas moved into the dunes of Sarepta, what is now known as Sarepta. And the purpose was just to get away from the control of the farmers, but they would still work on the actual farms. That's why they needed to be close proximity. There was also an influx of slaves from the rest of the Cape as they tried to get away from the slave masters. As a result, you found that the concentration of slaves needed some attending to in one way or another, and
we found that there was this lady who was also a former slave, whose name was Johanna van den Berg, well known as Moeder Jana later on. She was a devout Christian, and she used to travel along with several other slaves with her family all the way to Stellenbosch just to participate in the church services. This journey would take as much as 5 hours at a time, and it was becoming a bit of an issue. One of the reverends at the Stellenbosch church, Reverend Eslin, amongst others, through the motivation of Moeder Jana, decided that they need to have a mission station here in Sarepta itself. And by 1840, we found that Reverend Eslin, along with two other reverends, became the main persons to oversee the mission station here in Sarepta. In fact, Eslin is the one that named the area Sarepta, which meant purified in a melting pot in Arabic. Moeder Jana moved to the Kuils River area around about 1835, just after the earthquake that we had in the Cape area. She settled here in the dunes, which was located initially in the area that is now known as the R300, where she later moved to the area located on this premises. Moeder Jana continued playing an important role within the mission, as she would often host church services at her home, which is actually situated on this property, just over on the side over there where the actual house stood. It has been thrown down subsequently, but she has actually lived on this property. She also would accompany the missionaries to the various homes of the slaves and try and unify the community through Christianity and bringing together of the faith through the missionary as well. Through her devout work to the church, the community has named a road after, which is just up the road here from just off Mission Street. The name of the road is called Jana Street, although she did not physically live in that street. Come April 1843, the cornerstone of the church was laid, and the church was opened to the public within the area. So come 1994, the custodianship of the church was handed over to the Uniting Reformed Church. In 2003, the roof was replaced of the church, and shortly thereafter the decision was made to do some minor renovations of the church. Come 2005, the church was officially opened, and right up until today plays a very important role within the community of Sarepta. Here we have the privilege of sitting with Mr. Joel van Niekerk, a long-standing member of the congregation. He was in actual fact baptized here. So, let's hear from Mr. van Niekerk. So, baptism, when did that take place?
I was born in April 1946, and in May I was baptized by the Reverend Rieter.
Reverend Rieter. Okay, tell me, you were confirmed here as well. I'm assuming your entire life has been spent in this church.
Yes,
tell
I
me
attended
about the confirmation.
I attended Sunday school under the leadership of Mr. P.D. Paulse. I attended the confirmation class, started with Reverend Steenkamp, when he left, Reverend Cornelissen actually confirmed me in somewhere in mid-1960s when he came here.
Okay, you mentioned Mr. P.D. Paulsen. He's played an important role in the community. What was your experience with him and your knowledge of him?
No, I only know that he played a big part in the church because he was the organist, he was the choir master, he was the treasurer, he was the scribe, he was on the church council. He was involved in everything of the church. That's why he must be remembered for what he did.
For what he did, yes. He played an important role
Yes.
in the development of the area. And,
yes. And also he was the first, in 1934, he became principal of the church school that was already built in the time of Esalen. And in 1952, the new school, Sarepta Primary, was built. Cornelissen, he was the first minister of color.
Okay, which year was that?
64 he came.
64. So after all that time, being in a colored community, from 1840, the mission was located in the area. Only in 1964 did we have our first
Cornelissen, yes.
A person of color as
That's right.
as the head reverend
Yes.
of the church.
Yeah.
Wow. It took a while for change to happen, but it happened.
Yeah.
And 94 was a significant change as well, because then you changed from the Rhenish missionary church.
No, it used to be called the Dutch Reformed Mission Church, the NG Kerk.
Okay, Dutch Reformed. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and the change in 94 went from that to reforming
to uniting Reformed Church. Not united, uniting.
Okay, and it's still uniting.
Yes.
It's an ongoing process.
Yes.
Tell me, what is your relationship with the community of Sarepta like? You've been here for so long, you're part of the fabric of the community. Do you still have that strong relationship with your community? And is the things that you do?
Every year we have like bazaars and functions that you must arrange and be involved in committees, planning it and so on, you know.
Okay, and the community supports these initiatives quite well.
Yes, on Mandela Day. On Mandela Day, 18th of July, on that Saturday, we have a very good program here where we have lawyers, doctors and nurses and everything attending to the community, coming for free.
Offering their services for free to the community.
Yes.
Okay, wow. And is that something new, or is it something that you do annually?
It's actually, it's actually new, I think. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think for the past 5 years we've been doing that. Yes.
Okay, so it's not that new. It's an ongoing thing, and I'm sure the community really appreciates that sort of services. These are typically expensive services.
Yes, and we get quite a good support of the community, but mostly congregational members.
Congregation. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But everybody is welcome to come.
I want to thank you very much for your time, and I wish you well, sir. And here we are at one of the most beautiful buildings in our town, the Kuils River NG Kerk. As far back as 1829, the Dutch had their own congregational community, but mostly had to look after their own needs. Only come 1854 did a Reverend J.J. Beck from the Durbanville NG Kerk community decide to start traveling to our town and start making house calls to the Dutch community. The need grew so quickly that they eventually started having monthly church services in one of the local schools in town. Come 1858, the cornerstone of the Durbanville NG Kerk, the actual building, was laid, and Reverend J.J. Beck became the first reverend at that church. They continued to serve the Kuils River community, but the distance between Durbanville and Kuils River became a bit of a problem. On average, it would take about 3.5 to 4 hours to get to our little town. So, come 1903, once the town started booming and residential properties were starting to be sold in the area, the decision was made by the Durbanville NG Kerk to, in actual fact, have a full-blown NG Kerk community right here on this on this spot. The decision was made to build a church, and come 1904, within 1 year, the church was completed. So that being said, let us go and take a look at this beautiful church. We are here at the NG Church in Kuils River in the main road. I have with me Andre Roux, who is the chairman of the church committee here at NG Kerk. And, he's going to help us just to get to know the town church a little bit better. Andre, tell me, how long have you been the chairman of the NG Kerk itself?
Yeah, in the post only for 2 years now.
Okay, and as part of the church community?
We moved back from the Transvaal here in 1991.
Okay.
Since then we've been a member of this congregation.
Andre, the church stone was laid in 1904 and the church was officially open to the community of Kuils River. But for how long before then was the NG Kerk involved in the community of Kuils River?
This was originally part of the community of Durbanville.
Okay.
And then for many years, and then in 1903,
yes,
they decided to split the two in two communities, and this congregation started then in 1903.
Okay. And with the official building then opening in 1904, does
1904, yeah.
Does that mean that you built this church in 1 year?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And this church is still original. It was completely renovated about 6 years ago, and we're very glad we had the funding to do that, because this must be maintained and kept alive
for the future generation.
Yeah.
Correct. Every aspect of the church as it is exactly the same as it was back in 1904.
Yes, that's right.
There's been no additional renovations or additions to the to the church itself.
No, nothing.
So that being the case, have you guys been designated as a heritage site?
Not yet. We've talked about that for a long time, but we never actually got around to But that's part of the planning to do.
That's part of the planning.
Yeah. We have an organization called Actie Samaritaan,
Yes.
Action Samaritan,
Yes.
which is not for only this congregation, but the whole of Kuils River.
Okay.
And they support the soup kitchen down at the station, where every day people get soup and bread, and somebody will talk to them about the word of the Lord.
Okay.
But that's supported by the whole community of Kuils River. I think they got some, as far as Belleville, about 200 people on the list that prepare the soup and provide it to the people every day. And then we have on a Friday morning here at our church hall, we bake pancakes. And that pancakes is sold to generate funds also for the soup kitchen and for Actie Samaritan.
Okay, so you guys are quite active in the community itself.
Yeah, and as I said, currently we have 4 NG churches in Kuils River. This was the original one, as we call the Moedergemeente. And then Kuils River started from here. And then later toward Pick and Pay, that area is Daike, and a third community congregation, and then Dichterbay is on the other side towards Sarepta. So there's 4 NG churches in Kuils River, but there's a good collaboration between us and the VGK and the Moraviese church and those type of things. So we have a good relationship working together. Our choir is currently a combination of this congregation and Daike. And coming Sunday we'll be singing at Dichterbay.
I do know, if one goes back in history, back to the early 1900s, the NG Kerk had a huge impact on the development of the town itself. I believe that at one stage you owned the property on which the old post office was on.
Yes.
And that was sold on again to the local municipality a few years later.
That's right, yeah.
Is there currently still that kind of impact in the community where the NG Kerk owns certain key sites that they are developing for the community?
No, we've sold off part of it, as you say, for the post office and the old telephone exchange.
Yes.
And then 25 years ago, we developed a shopping center in front of the church here. Also on church property, we established a private company, and the church is 100% ownership of that company.
Okay.
And the whole idea was to make use of this excellent property in the main road and to generate funding for the church. And that's an ongoing thing.
It's
ongoing. It's coming December. It will be in operation for 25 years already. We're very blessed. We're fully occupied. No vacant shops available at this stage.
Okay.
And that provide a very good income for the church.
Okay.
And that again allow us to do work outside the community as well.
I believe Mr. Kriel himself, the founder of Jan Kriel Primary, is from this congregation, or was from this congregation?
Yes. He was from this congregation as well. He's one of the porters that we've got in our, what we call our consistory. I can't remember what the English name for that is. But he was in this church, and they had a son that suffered from epilepsy. And that he started the ball rolling to create a special school for people with special learning disabilities.
In terms of the future of the church, what do you foresee happening in the next 20 years in Kuils River? We're growing, we're changing. There's a whole new group of residents moving in with a completely different perspective on what Kuils River used to be. How do you find adapting as a church to the new kind of resident in Kuils River?
That is part of our medium and long-term strategy to have an open door policy and try and invite as much people as possible to the church, and have one joined community in the name of the Lord, and make use of the challenge that we have, where a lot of older people have moved out of the community and younger people moving in, and also make them feel welcome here and join the church as well. So we foresee that in the next 10-15 years the composition of the congregation will probably look completely different than now. But we're working towards that, and we will do that with open hearts, and we're glad to welcome every new member to be part of this congregation.
Well, thank you very much, Andre. I do thank you for your time, sir, and best of luck with that. So there you have it, some stories of two of the oldest churches in our community. One common factor is that they have both stood the test of time and continue to serve the community in which they have been built. In our next episode, I will be touching base on another church, as well as taking a look at the oldest mosque in our town. And I'm really looking forward to that episode as well. So I would just like to ask all of you, those of you who haven't, please subscribe, like, and comment on our videos, and just go around telling the rest of our community about this channel, so that we can all get to know a little bit more about our town. But in the meantime, thank you for joining me once again. I look forward to seeing you again, and I hope you keep well. See you around.